Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
Cruising your way on this episode of Off 90. Learn what it takes to keep a small town newspaper alive. Join in the birthday celebration of the Owatonna Arts Center. Attend a CD release party in Rochester. And come with us to a celebration of green living and clean energy in Austin. It's all just ahead, Off 90. Hi, I'm Barbara Keith. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Off 90. The Steele County Times is a newspaper serving Blooming Prairie and Steele County. It's been around since 1893. We talked to the paper's owner, Rick Bustler. He told us what it takes for a newspaper to not only survive, but grow in our current economy.
Kind of been a myth out there is that newspapers are dying, and that certainly is not the case, at least here in Blooming Prairie and Steele County. I'm Rick Bustler, the publisher of the Steele County Times in Blooming Prairie, and also publisher of the news enterprise out of West Concord. Well, I started out actually when I was in high school, back in 8th grade in my hometown. Started out as a photographer and covered sporting events and took pictures at different community events. And all throughout high school, I kind of worked my way up after I did a year or two of photography. Then I got into writing, started writing sports stories and news stories and feature stories. And by the time I graduated, 12th grade, I was the assistant editor of the paper. And I had pretty much done everything. I had been out selling ads, I had laid out the paper, the layout and design, I had created ads, done all the writing, photography, you name it. I pretty much did it all back in my hometown. So that's where I really developed my interest in newspaper work. Actually I had gotten out of the journalism profession for a while, and here about 5 years ago I decided I wanted to get back into it. And I actually was looking around at different newspapers and found that at the time Blooming Prairie Times was for sale, and purchased that newspaper 5 years ago in November of 2009.
May I have your attention, please? The Steele County Times press run is now beginning.
We print our newspaper at the Post Bulletin in Rochester, and then they actually deliver it to the community, to Blooming Prairie, every Tuesday afternoon. We're predominantly mail delivered. Our paper goes out through the U.S. Postal Service. We do also make our paper available on local newsstands in pretty much every community in the county. We've grown astronomically. It's been, beyond my wildest expectations in terms of the growth that we've experienced. In the last 5 years, we've doubled and actually come close to tripling our circulation, our readership. During that 5-year period, we expanded into a countywide newspaper. We used to just be covering Blooming Prairie, and basically it was the Blooming Prairie community newspaper. And 3 years ago, I expanded it to cover the entire county of Steele County. And that has been given us a lot of room to grow and to experience the type of growth that we've been receiving.
So let's say somebody comes in and gives us an entry each week, we'll hand it out for you.
Okay.
So all it costs you is the ad. We pay for the actual gift card.
So besides the circulation growth, our sales have skyrocketed. We've won a lot of national and state awards. The paper had never won any awards before, so when I first took over, I think I had 4 staff members one of which was full-time. And now, 5 years later, we've grown to 12. And I think with the exception of 1 or 2 of those, all of them are full-time. The paper itself has grown. When I took over in November of 2009, we were running about 14 pages a week. And this most recent issue that we put out, we had 40 pages in 4 sections. One thing that I think has been kind of a known around the industry is that daily newspapers have suffered. They have kind of taken it on the chin. A lot of them have cut back. Some have gone out of business. They've been laying off people over the course of the last 10, 15 years. So, the economic times have been brutal to a lot of daily newspapers. But the thing that we have found is that your smaller papers in the small towns, your community newspapers are thriving. Well, I think one of the biggest things is we have a niche that nobody else has. We are 100% local news, community news. We like to look at ourselves as the hometown news. We give that kind of news, and there aren't any other publications out there that do that. So I think as long as you're able to have that, you're going to find that smaller newspapers, community newspapers, are going to thrive. So this is our most recent issue of the now Steele County Times, which we just did a name change here, and I did a front page story kind of explaining the name change. We also did a story on that car seat, the person that was burned in a car seat with a car seat heater. The story starts on the front page and then continues inside on 2 full pages inside. And then we also have a picture of a Veterans Day, and then we have Citizens of the Year that were recognized in Blooming Prairie. So we try and offer a mixture of news that pertains to people all over the county in Steele County. Up until this point, we've had one person that's been primarily responsible for sports coverage. Lamar Nelson has been with us for, I think it's 22 years now. He's retired and was an educator in Blooming Prairie for many years. And once he retired from education, he came to work at the newspaper and has been here ever since. And Lamar just celebrated his 82nd birthday. So he's been very faithful to the community and very faithful to our newspaper, and people love him. So Lamar usually goes to all the Blooming Prairie games, especially the home games. So I always have to send one of our other staff members to the games to get the photographs. And usually Alan Van Ormer, who's our managing editor, will go to the games and take the pictures. So we've needed to kind of find a way to cover more outside of Blooming Prairie, and by adding a sports editor, that'll allow us to go into some of the other school districts in our area to cover more sports. Papers will see marginal growth, they'll see a little bit of growth, but they don't see the giant growth like we've experienced. And that probably isn't going to continue forever. One of the challenges that we have faced in our expansion project here over the last 5 years is the Blooming Prairie people might feel a little slighted when you're growing and getting bigger, that they're losing their identity of the old Blooming Prairie Times. But I guess the thing that I like to remind people is that long-term, long-range, if you want a newspaper that's going to be servicing your community, we have to look at growing, and we have to look at expanding outside of Blooming Prairie, because it's not going to survive just by itself as a Blooming Prairie paper forever. And a lot of communities have seen that. A lot of their papers have folded or gone by the wayside over the years. I think it's kind of nice to have a locally owned paper. And I know some communities around here that have had their local papers bought out by bigger corporations, and they're not happy with them at all. There's approximately 350 newspapers in Minnesota. We're hoping that we can, keep the paper going for many years to come.
The Owatonna Arts Center has been around since 1974. Since that time, the Arts Center has become one of the top arts organizations in Greater Minnesota. They recently celebrated their 40th anniversary, where they showed their gratitude to the community for allowing the Arts Center to continue its mission to make the arts accessible to the community and to promote creativity.
The arts in Owatonna are very important. The community really needs to have a community arts center. Because it's an opportunity for the regional artists to show and share their work, to not only display their work, but also the talents of individuals to be a part of our community, to want to live in a community that is rich with a history and an active arts community. Those are the things that round out the community, encourage it to become more than just a place to put your head. You could say that about any community because it is very important. We have classes for young people and adults. We also do gallery exhibitions. We try to showcase regional artists, both professional and non-professional, a wide variety of media. We also do concerts as well with both local and professional people. Things that I think are important are, a board that started it, volunteers and artists who really keep it alive and active. It's a community arts center. Without the community support in all those manners, not only financially, but active as volunteers, the arts wouldn't exist. That's really the purpose of a community arts center. We're very fortunate at the Arts Center to have always had an historian. That person has changed over the years, but they basically have collected these scrapbooks that have clippings from our paper, the Owatonna People's Press, artifacts, programs, and a variety of things. And for me, it's really fun to look back, those wonderful experiences of classes that we've had with young people, teaching them to throw on the potter's wheel, concerts, just a variety of things. The Arts Center started way back in 1974 when some individuals were exploring the tunnels and popped into this building and discovered big rooms and spaces and decided that it was an opportunity to form a community arts center. They envisioned concerts happening, studio spaces with classes for kids and adults, gallery spaces, and today we have those wonderful accomplishments. The Owatonna Arts Center has been in existence for 40 years. On July 14th was the actual day that the Arts Center was incorporated, and so we celebrated. Basically, we had a little timeline that gave a little bit of highlights of history of the Arts Center. We also had a lot of wonderful kids activities that were also wonderful and fun for adults to participate in. And a celebration always needs a little sweet treat, so we had some cake as well. We're also planning one in the fall here, a masquerade ball, which should be fun and exciting. And we're, playing off of that current theme of steampunk. The idea is to have a wonderful celebration and an evening where people can enjoy the camaraderie, hear good music, enjoy dancing, and just have some fun. The arts are going to continue to grow. There are going to be new advantages that are going to happen because of resources and individuals in our community. And so I see a very bright future for the Arts Center and for the arts in southern Minnesota.
Steve Schmidt is a Midwestern singer-songwriter who plays acoustic and electric guitars. In addition to writing over 200 songs, he has composed and performed musical soundtracks for public television, film, and theatrical performances. We caught up with Steve at the release party for his CD, The Road.
I haven't written a song in nearly a year. There's something wrong with my life here. I've tried so many times to find words that rhyme. I've become an aging troubadour. I can't take being on the road anymore.
My music is very important to me. It's who I am as an individual. It keeps me grounded and makes me the creative person that I am.
I'm so worked up.
My name is Stephen Schmidt. I'm a singer-songwriter and a guitar player.
I'm just an aging troubadour. I can't take being on the road anymore.
Like many musicians, I started playing as a child, and it just took. I started playing the cello at an early age, but then fell in love with the guitar when kids started falling in love with guitars, and that's the instrument that really resonated with me.
Can't take being on the road anymore.
For me, it was very much an organic process, learning to play the guitar. I listened to a lot of music and imitated a lot of music. For me, early on, the Beatles, trying to pick out guitar parts that the Beatles would play, or picking out the guitar parts that one would find on Peter, Paul and Mary records. Those were important. There was a period in my life where James Taylor helped influence it as a popular artist. Really getting a chance to play with folks in festival settings and to swap songs was hugely important. You know, hanging around guitar shops up in the Twin Cities, as a kid, I would hang out at the Podium Tobacco Shop. I mean, in the old days, they sold guitars on top of the humidors in the old Podium Tobacco Shop, and as a kid, I would go up there and hang out and play guitar and learn stuff from the people who were up there. That's really how the chops were developed. And then playing every day. When other kids my age were pursuing, you know, baseball and football and hockey, for me it was all about guitar. And that was my fun. And that's what helped me come alive as an individual. And for various playing techniques, for various songs, one uses different guitars. This is the guitar that I used to tour with all the time. This is one we called the Old Man. This is an old Martin D35. It's just a beautiful instrument and has just this beautiful rich tone with these beautiful Brazilian rosewood on it. It's just a grand instrument. Well, I'm a singer-songwriter, and I do a lot of finger picking and some intricate guitar work up the neck, and also with the various finger picking styles that I use. And lyrical content's very important in my work, and so the words tend to be very personal and revealing. I mean, there are some really fun songs that I do that are just fun, but I write a lot of love songs and songs about work and about life.
Mama, mama, this is your son. Mama, mama, let me tell you what I've done.
When I play the guitar in this studio, I'm very much at peace with myself and the world. playing out live is still a challenge, you know. After all these years, I still get nervous. I still get a little stage fright. So there's that little bit of terror just as you begin to take the stage. But once you settle in and you, as we say, you know, get in the pocket, you find the groove, all is right with the world. The music really can transport me to another plane. Music's a very powerful thing in my life.
Ever since that very special day when we first met, a feeling came down, I just can't forget. It must be love. It must be love. And there have been
After all these years, the family of musicians, the large family of musicians who I've known over the years have said, Steve, it's time to get these songs recorded. And with some loving prodding from my wife and the rest of my family and my musical family, here we are, 40 years in the making.
But I can't tell you how I feel, although what I feel is so real. I don't know where I stand, you don't know who I am.
What's been really exciting for me with this CD project is that it is a full band recording. There are songs on this CD that are retrospective of the last 40 years of my life. Some of these songs are as old as 40 years. And I've had the opportunity to revisit them, update them, make them new again. And working with this terrific band, they have breathed new life into this music.
It finally dawned on me today that you're really going away.
The title song of the CD is called The Road, and it's actually a song that I originally wrote when I stopped touring 30 years ago. And now it's been updated, reflecting about through the prism of almost a 40-year-old. And what I intend to do, the next chapter of my life, is to return to how I came up. And I expect to go back out on the road again. I won't retire. What I'll be doing is being a full-time musician at that point in time. And if we can sell enough CDs and make enough at house concerts to gas up the motorhome, I'll be a happy man.
I can't take being on the road anymore. I can't take being on the road anymore. Thank you.
Reef Fest is a celebration of green living and clean energy in Austin. Reef Fest focuses on the positive impact individual actions can have on the environment and reduction of carbon emissions. The organizers of Reef Fest hope to teach people how they can take action to conserve the Earth's limited resources and make positive changes in their community.
Reef Fest is a celebration of green living and clean energy. We're trying to educate, motivate, and encourage people to live greener lifestyle and leave a lighter carbon footprint on the planet. Reef Fest started with a collaborative effort from the J.C. Hormel Nature Center, the Austin Utilities, and Riverland Community College. We try to bring in unique speakers, educators, entertainment. You'll see artisans that may make their own soaps. We have that, as well as some artisans bake their own breads and have like a mini bake sale. They do their own canning of pickles, jams, and different things that they'll be selling. Out here we've got exhibitors that come and show their alternative fueled cars. Well, the lessons globally are that if you could live within, utilizing items within a short range, you're not having to ship in your groceries from, thousands of miles away. You can live as locally as possible. You're burning less fuel, you're wasting less energy and things to not only produce those items, but to get them to you. So if you can live a little more within the area and support local business, and if everybody could do that throughout the world, I think we'd see, greater strides towards not only efficiency, but some cleaner living. I think one of the bigger projects that evolved from Reef Fest is the fact that the Austin High School, their Go Green Club, was able to raise money towards a solar array that they installed on top of their annex most recently this year. So they helped out with our recycling event, electronics recycling, last year, and we asked the community for a donation for their efforts to help out with that, and they generated well over $3,000 towards that. I think it has been growing because we try to bring something unique and different to help bring those people back year after year.
That's all for this episode. Please help Off 90 meet its financial obligations by becoming a member of KSMQ Public Television. Give us a call at 507-481-2095 or 1-800-658-2539, or sign up online at ksmq.org. Thanks for watching. Join us next time, Off 90.
Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.